The Balkans is a vast region that contains a unique world of its own. If you've never visited the Balkans and wish to explore a country in that area, Albania should be your first stop. Albanians are not confined solely to Albania. They are a widespread nation found in almost every country in the Balkans. For instance, in Kosovo, about 95% of the population is Albanian, while in North Macedonia, nearly half of the population has Albanian roots. This nation occupies a territory of 28,000 square kilometers and has a population of around 2.7 million. In many ways, the Balkans reflect the presence of the Albanian nation, which has spread across various countries. Interestingly, the origins of the Albanian people do not trace back to Italians or Ottoman Turks. Instead, they are primarily descendants of the Illyrians, who settled in this region around 2000 BC. The Illyrians inhabited these lands for over 1,500 years until the arrival of the Roman Empire, setting the stage for the ethnic origins of the modern Albanian nation. However, the origins of their flag do not date back to the Illyrians. The flag has a history of approximately 600 years, tracing back to the time of the Ottoman Empire. In 1443, the national leader of Albania, Skanderbeg, along with many Albanians, rebelled against the Ottomans and adopted the double-headed eagle from the Eastern Roman Empire as their banner of resistance. By 1912, inspired by Skanderbeg, Albanian nationalists used this flag once more in their struggle for independence from the Ottoman Empire, and it gained official recognition after they succeeded. Today, Albania has a population that is 82.7% ethnically Albanian, with the remaining portion comprised of Greeks, Romanians, Roma people, Montenegrins, and various other minorities. Although some nationalist Albanians claim a much higher percentage of ethnic Albanians, international sources confirm the figures mentioned here. In this video, we filmed scenes of everyday life in Albania to better understand the local way of life. During this time of year, the weather in Albania can be quite variable, with rain and sunshine possible on the same day. People may still wear long-sleeved clothing or jackets during this season. It's worth noting that the country lacks natural gas and central heating systems. Even hotels rely on air conditioning and provide electric water heaters in the bathrooms. As a result, many households in the Balkan region typically have air conditioning. Freezing weather is usually limited to just 2 or 3 months of the year, while the rest of the year experiences relatively mild temperatures. The capital city, Tirana, is always bustling with activity, regardless of the weather. Whether it's day or night, you'll see crowds of people and heavy traffic throughout the city. In the mornings, the adult population heads to work while young people go to school. In terms of transportation, many people in the country use bicycles or electric scooters. Despite the crowded conditions, there is no metro or tram system. The city's manageable size allows residents to walk to many places, so public transportation is the preferred mode of transit for most people in the capital. There are 2 different types of taxis in the country: green and white taxis and traditional yellow taxis. The green and white taxis represent a more luxurious and modern class of vehicles, many of which are electric cars from Chinese brands. While their fares may be slightly higher, riders can quickly notice that these taxis are much more comfortable and luxurious than the yellow ones. Compared to neighboring countries like North Macedonia and Kosovo, the cars in Tirana appear much more lavish. If someone who has never been to Albania were placed on a busy street, they might wonder if they had arrived in Germany. Albanian men often prioritize buying cars over owning homes. Some even rent luxury cars to impress their girlfriends, indicating a tendency among Albanian men to showcase their wealth. It's common to see many Range Rovers in Tirana, particularly as they are one of the main types of vehicles circulating in the city. How do these guys afford such luxuries? Well, it's important to note that many people come here specifically to rent nice cars. For the average Albanian, owning an expensive car is often viewed as more valuable than owning a house. This desire for a luxury vehicle can give them a sense of power, even though it may seem superficial when it comes to attracting attention from others. When you examine the buildings around the capital, you'll notice that the structures there are generally newer, while those on the side streets show signs of aging, with some even lacking paint. The residents of these apartment buildings are likely among the lowest income class in the capital. It is reported that the minimum monthly income in the country is around 400 euros, which means those living in these apartments likely include individuals earning minimum wage. In Albania, the prices of apartment units are determined by the square meter. For instance, the price per square meter ranges from 800 to 1,000 euros. Therefore, if you want to buy a 3-bedroom apartment measuring 100 square meters, you would need a budget of around 100,000 euros. The lowest apartment rents in the capital start at 300 euros and increase based on one's budget. However, if we were to make a logical inference, we know that Albanians are not just a nation of 2.7 million. Over 1.2 million citizens, or more than 44% of the Albanian population, migrated to richer countries in Europe. Since Albanians are loyal to their homeland, students and adults who have established themselves abroad regularly send cash flow to their countries and thus support their families, which helps them survive. It's quite difficult for ordinary people with average incomes to buy a house in the capital. In fact, the average age of marriage in the country is around 27, 28 years old. Since Albanians love lavish weddings with many guests, a significant budget must be allocated for wedding expenses. If you are considering living in Albania, marrying an Albanian could be one of the best moves to obtain residency there. This way, you open the doors of a second country for yourself apart from your own. Besides, they have very good genetics and are extremely warm, positive, and talkative, making them appealing to others. If you visited the capital of the country, you might be familiar with Skanderbeg Square, one of the largest and most well-known squares. In my opinion, the square features a beautiful modern layout. However, even during the busy tourist months, the square can feel a bit lifeless. I believe that its potential is not being fully utilized. More lively events should be organized both during the day and in the evenings. As a result, tourists have limited activities to enjoy in Skanderbeg Square, mainly just taking photos. The only form of entertainment available is a Ferris wheel. Despite its spaciousness, I find the square somewhat dysfunctional due to the lack of activities, leaving tourists with money to spend but no options to engage. Albanians, especially the younger generation, value their hair, beard, and makeup. Most people have black hair, and many have fair skin. There are not many blonde, green-eyed, or blue-eyed people among Albanians. If you see blonde, blue-eyed people on the streets, they are likely Scandinavian tourists. However, it is worth noting that they are often considered genetically beautiful and handsome. In terms of character, Albania is a society that warmly welcomes its guests. If you ask people on the street a question, they respond sincerely. Shopkeepers greet customers with a smile. And if local people know a few words in your language while you shop, they will often thank you in that same language. This creates a sense of intimacy and affection toward Albanians. Ultimately, perhaps due to the climate, Albanians, like others in the Balkan region, enjoy living life and engaging in conversation. Regarding Albanian youth, many go to Germany after university. Guides in Kosovo and North Macedonia have mentioned similar trends. Young people in the Balkans often focus their career plans on foreign countries. Those who study and acquire skills can earn a living more easily in industrialized nations like Germany, where salaries are significantly higher than the average of less than 1,000 euros a month in their home countries. This allows them to dream of buying a nice apartment in Albania by bringing back the money they earn abroad. Additionally, Albania lacks globally recognized brands. Most electronic devices, cars, and defense-related products are imported from abroad. While the country is rich in natural fruits and vegetables, these products do not generate significant revenue compared to technological goods. As a result, there are limited sectors that provide substantial income through sales. In addition to food and beverages, Albania produces textiles and construction materials. The country's main trading partners include Italy, Turkey, Greece, Germany, and China, with many electric vehicles on the roads being imported from China. However, Albania does have a significant advantage. Unlike some other Balkan countries, it has access to the sea, which attracts tourists and generates revenue for the economy. If a country has a coastline, it opens up many additional sectors for development. This directly influences the number of tourists visiting the country. Albania, with its beautiful beach cities like Sarandi, is particularly appealing to tourists, especially American and European visitors during the summer months, as they find the Balkans to be more affordable. Countries like Albania and Greece are among the top choices for tourists from Northern Europe in the summer, which significantly boosts the local economy. Given Albania's tumultuous history over the past century, it's not surprising that the country has struggled with productivity. After being under Ottoman rule for over 400 years, Albania gained its independence in 1912. During World War II, it faced attempts at occupation by Italy and Germany. Shortly after the war, the country endured decades of communist rule under a single leader until the 1990s. Many Albanians today point to their experiences during the communist era as reasons for the country's lack of development. While the government has now joined NATO, it has not yet become a member of the European Union. If the country were to join the EU, its economy could significantly improve. For instance, the local currency is called the lek, which is not very valuable. €1 is roughly equivalent to 100 Albanian lek. This low value has led to the printing of banknotes in denominations of 500, 1,000, and even 2,000 lek. Even basic food items, such as cheese and olives, are priced above 200 lek, and meals at restaurants are not considered cheap. This suggests that the country faces significant inflation, with a relatively weak purchasing power that makes even food products expensive. For example, a meal for 3 friends at a typical Italian restaurant costs around €50, which many might find expensive. If you are coming from the United States or countries like Switzerland, Denmark, or the United Arab Emirates, you may find this place extremely affordable. However, for someone with a monthly income of €1,500 or €2,000, dining out can be quite expensive while visiting the country. Some sources indicate that the annual inflation rate is around 5%, which is fairly reasonable. Nevertheless, I believe that the prices in restaurants, which are close to those in other European Union countries, are not justified. Supermarket prices generally reflect this. For example, with 1,000 lek equivalent to €10, you can compare meat prices to those in your home country. Market products seem much more affordable than restaurant offerings. As a result, most of the Albanian population likely prefers to eat larger portions at home for less money rather than pay more for meat at restaurants. In terms of religion, there is a significant Muslim population in the country. In fact, some sources indicate that over half of the population identifies as Muslim. This leads to distinctions in dining options on certain streets in the capital. For example, in restaurants located in areas with many Muslims and mosques, you'll see halal signs. These establishments, labeled as halal, do not offer pork products. It should be noted that Albania is not a country where religious values play a dominant role. During the communist era, religious beliefs were even banned, and under dictator Enver Hoxha, the concept of faith was severely diminished. As a result, Albania became one of the most atheist countries in the Balkans. Given that Haksa ruled until 1985, it is unrealistic to expect a significant increase in religious fervor over the past 40 years. Consequently, while there are many mosques in the country, Muslims do not practice their faith as prominently as in Middle Eastern countries. In fact, some Albanians say that while Muslims may pray in mosques, they also consume pork. Albanians have a strong preference for Turkish and Roma music, which is why you will see many Roma musicians performing on the streets. In another area of the city, there is an artificial concrete structure called the Pyramid, one of Albania's notable landmarks. If you climb the stairs to the top, you can overlook many buildings in the capital. However, due to the numerous tall structures in the area, the view from the pyramid does not provide a coherent panoramic scene. The architectural landscape of the city lacks coherence, as tall office buildings in a skyscraper style are interspersed among low-rise buildings and apartments. This mix has diminished the visual appeal of the capital. Almost everyone who climbs the pyramid makes sure to take photos, especially women who seem particularly drawn to capturing the moment. That's all we have to share about Albania and Tirana for now. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content. Goodbye.